Bring it up. All the way.
You guys have never seen a truck like this before.
Dad, you can't keep spending money on junk.
I don't think it's a truck at all. I think we just found a transformer.
Dad!
I'm gonna ask you this once. Where is Optimus Prime?
You know, we got a rule about messing with people from Texas.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to What the Flick. Alonso, Duralde, Christy, Lemire, and our good friend joining us today, Amy Nicholson from LA Weekly. Woo!
Yay. Hello. What's wrong?
Transformers.
Transformers, there's punctuation mark in there. Transformers, Age of Extinction. Okay, so Shia LaBeouf does not exist in this universe. This is a big plus. It is after the last Transformers movie, Chicago supposedly has been decimated, and the Autobots, who were supposed to have been our friends, are now no longer. But there's also Mark Wahlberg in there, and he's just a small-town Texas farm guy and inventor with a hot Tara Reid-looking daughter. And he finds Optimus Prime just sort of hanging out in a movie theater. And it's a statement about culture and terrorism. I don't know. Take a look.
Don't you get it? We don't need you anymore.
This is not war. It's human extinction.
Oh my God!
How many more of my kind must be sacrificed?
I'm not leaving my dad.
We need a new army.
So this is a long movie.
Yeah, 2 hours and 45 minutes.
It's almost as long as Benjamin Button. It's 2 hours shy of that. 2 hours shy of that, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They bring up this whole thing early on about, where everyone's afraid of terrorism, or they're afraid of robot terrorism, and
right, they're treating the last film like it was 9/11.
Exactly. Yeah. And then and then you have the CIA talking about, the aliens, sounding like they're Tom Tancredo or something, but they have no actual thing to say about terrorism or immigration. They just sort of throw them in there to make the movie seem kind of zeitgeisty. Yeah. And then when you finally get to Chicago midway through the movie, I thought we were getting close to the end, but oh no, Chicago looks fine. Chicago looks totally, there's not a single ground zero thing to it.
So the John Hancock Tower looks fine.
Yes.
There are a lot of American flags everywhere.
Always. It's a Michael Bay movie.
The drop of Mark Wahlberg's beautiful Americana garage where he tinkers with tiny, cute robot dogs.
Yeah. And it's always like this big sunsets behind his white picket fence house, and like, oh, you must live up the place from the old Malick home.
Yeah. Everything is like a Ford F-150 ad with like the waving grass and the sunshine. And
yeah, it's like for the first half of the film, Michael Bay thinks he might be doing the robot Gone with the Wind.
That'd be great. I want to see that movie.
Now, Christy and I have both lived in Texas.
Whoa.
Amy,
you too?
from San Antonio.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, I always forget that. You're so cosmopolitan.
We've all had good queso.
So, mind you, in this movie, this movie's ideas of Texans are Mark Wahlberg, some Irish guy, and T.J. Miller doing like total surfer dude thing. I'm like, could we have Beth Grant or somebody in this movie who actually knows how to sound like a Texan?
This is a Texas I don't believe ever exists. It's like green farmland, although nobody's ever farming it.
Lush.
And yet somehow the comedian dude has a surfboard on his car the whole time. And they sound like they're maybe by South Padre.
Yeah, there's a mention of South Padre Island.
They mention Paris, Texas, though, too.
Yeah, which
Paris is farther up.
Yeah. It's
also, it's supposed to be summertime in Texas, right? Because she's graduated from high school.
Right.
She's in like jeans and a sweater sitting on the porch doing her homework.
Okay, but this is
no one is sweating in this movie.
This is a small town Texas farm girl who wears heels on her own home ranch.
Right, with like ass-hugging Daisy Dukes because she can.
Again, and I've forgotten this
These are minor things.
I've forgotten this actor's name. Yeah, I know. We're getting tied down in Texas. We haven't even gotten to China yet,
Oh my God, the pandering of the whole last half of the movie takes place in China. Like, it's like a whole other movie they slapped together with the Texas and Chicago movie just for more product product placement in
China. Yes, because there are Asian bottled waters that we can hold toward the camera.
I'm so thirsty in the back of the car. What should I drink?
You have to admit that is the ultimate compliment to China, is that they're including product placement that we can't even read or buy.
And yet we know it looks really good.
Yeah. There's that whole scene where they drink a juice box in slow motion.
Yeah. And he pulls out this. Fuck Michael Bay, okay? I'm sorry. This guy, I know people say that he has an aesthetic and his thing is he just makes his movies look like very long trailers, but it's like, even when the first couple of Transformers movies drove me nuts because they were so visually chaotic,
Right.
you couldn't distinguish where one robot fist ended and a robot jaw began.
Right.
Now they're really sharp, they're really clear, the 3D looks good. Apparently it's a 3D IMAX camera, like it's a new thing that he shot on. But it's so fucking Cuisinart edited that you can't take in a full moment before he's already cut somewhere else to some other thing, and you don't know where anybody else is in relation to anybody else, or why they're fighting, or who, or what's going on. And
I will say that there are moments where he will let that slow-mo thing do its magic. Like there's a moment where Optimus Prime is like corkscrewing through the air over an overpass, and he lets all that play out. And it does look really great and really sharp this time.
And I love it because in that corkscrew flip, he's like capturing humans in his hand, and I kept thinking, you're being caught by hard metal.
But he's got a gentle touch because he has a soul, right?
I mean, here's the thing. I think this is the worst Transformers movie, which to me is impressive because I thought the second one was the worst
I was
Transformers
going to say, I'm
movie.
still going with second.
Second one's pretty bad.
The second one's pretty bad,
Make
but
your case.
he still has queasily racist characters in this one. Now we just have a
Yes.
samurai. But what makes this one to me particularly disappointing is because I thought maybe the Michael Bay of Pain and Gain might inch into this a little bit.
Because Marky Mark's here too.
Exactly. I want to give him a hug after Pain and Gain and say, I believe in you. And now I don't believe in him at all. He's crushed all my goodwill.
I do have a sense, though, that there is a vague self-awareness here. Like, he recognizes that his movies have become parodies of themselves. I kind of feel like he knows that now and he's embracing it in some ways.
There's that line early on, like you said, in the old movie theater where Richard Reel as the old projection says, movies now, they're all remakes and sequels and they're all crap. And I'm thinking, you know what, you're not 22 Jump Street. You don't get to make fun of yourself in the middle of this giant bloated, I kind of felt like, you've got Stanley too. There's always got to be like a legit actor embarrassing himself.
You've
Like
got a couple of them
it's either
here.
John Turturro or Francis McDormand or John Malkovich. This time it's Stanley Tucci.
Who's the best part of the whole movie,
Who
maybe, right?
is actually, yeah. But again, I didn't buy any of this stuff. I didn't get the motivation of why the bad robot wants Optimus Prime so bad. I didn't. It's
Revenge?
He was taking him back to somebody. This movie is like Prometheus half the time, where it's all about like, where were we all born? Where did this material come from? How can we use that material to create weapons? Like,
And it invents a metal called transformium, which you have to love just the balls of the cheesiness of that name. But
We all
here's
laughed
the thing.
when
I
we
mean,
heard that.
this is a movie that is incredibly long enough that you could squeeze 2 good movies into it, and yet, despite trying to get all this plot in, I don't understand anything that happened in the second half of the movie.
it's
You see
baffling.
2 different movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got, again, the short shorts and high heels. I mean, at this point, Megan Fox from the first movie is looking like a combination of Ellen Ripley and Simone de Beauvoir, because since then we got Rosie Huntington-Whiteley in her little Victoria's Secret ensembles, and now this broad running around. I'm like, oh my God, could we have a woman in this movie that is not like this blow-up sex doll, Michael Bay's idea of what a victim looks like?
Why can't Scarlett Johansson play a role like that? I guess she's too old, but is there like a young badass actress, a Haley Steinfeld?
Who would even
Who
agree
could
to say
hold her
yes?
own,
Who knows what's going to happen to her in this movie?
And who's written to not be completely incompetent half the time. It's just like, and not actually be proactive.
Because, I mean, here I think he finds his young ingenue so interchangeable that he basically dresses her exactly like Rosie Huntington-Whiteley. She's in the
And
same
Megan
outfit.
Fox.
Yeah.
She wore like little Daisy Dukes too,
Yeah.
didn't she? Yeah.
We know that he likes Daisy Dukes, tight gray pants, and white shirts.
And who doesn't? We all like those.
But
things,
but the thing is, even the women scientists in this movie look like they might as well be wearing the short shorts. I mean, they're all like this of the same kind of mold of like super thin, super hot, unless you are like an overweight caricature or an annoying old lady. But other than that, if you're a woman in a Michael Bay movie, you just stepped out of vogue and got put into something trashy.
Part of that, though, I wonder too, is the hinging on self-parody. I wonder if he knows what he's been accused of
I
and
think
is
you're
now
giving him
embracing
way
it.
too much credit.
I don't know.
And it's not like, I mean, what do you mean became self-parody? It's not like he used to make little, you know, character-based indies. This guy came out of the gate with like Big, Loud, and Stupid.
But I mean,
Big,
like,
Loud, and Stupid is what he does.
But the Transformers movies, like the first three, like they were super self-serious, and this has a little bit more playfulness to it, perhaps in a knowing way. I'm not defending it. I'm not going to be the Transformers apologist here, but I had a sense that he knew his own ridiculousness this time.
Well, I
don't know,
have a
maybe
sense
not.
he's trying to justify his own ridiculous, because since his whole camera is leering at a girl who they keep insisting is 17 years old, I like the moment where he has her older boyfriend pull out a card that explains legally he's allowed to lust after a 17-year-old, as if Michael Bay is saying, guys, it's cool, we can all do this.
Yeah. Oh, and then and the Irish guy and Mark Wahlberg. There's so much like dick measuring, macho posturing going on, where they're like basically competing over this girl because it's Wahlberg's daughter and the other guy's girlfriend, and then they bond when they both get to shoot a giant gun together. You know,
The symbolism of that is very, very
Brother.
tough. Why is the Irish race car driver living in Paris, Texas? Did we ever determine this?
Never
How did
explained.
he meet her?
Never explained.
High school. They met at high school.
So he
Yes.
studied. Maybe it was like
Oh,
a
that's
study
true.
abroad
Foreign
program.
exchange
And he
student?
just
Yes.
stayed to be in
Did she go
NASCAR
to a
race cars.
Tech school?
All right.
Who knows?
Do we do numbers? Or would
God.
we be beaten this robot to death?
Yeah, this thing's gonna make $1 gajillion, and
It
if you
is.
are part of the box office juggernaut of this movie, shame on you.
What's your number?
3.5.
What's your number?
3.4.
I gave it 3.7. I'm really high on this, clearly. So our average is 3.5. It's at 25% on the tomato meter. If you want to go sit in the air conditioning for 3 hours, because it would be 3 hours with trailers, you have that going for you.
Or you could take a nap, because not to rat Christy out, but I saw you take off your glasses and just be like, okay.
Toward the end, like toward the really noisy part toward the end, I was dozing. All right, don't see this. Bye.